Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thank you for joining us. We're going to begin this Tuesday right here in New York. That's where President Trump will be returning to the world stage when he addresses the 80th United Nations General Assembly later this morning. The president arrived here last night from Washington. Now, Mr. Trump's trip comes at a time when he and other world leaders are being confronted with several conflicts that seem to have no peaceful end in sight.
You could say the UN General Assembly is like the ultimate global TED Talk with speeches by nearly 150 heads of state or government. Brazil goes first this morning, then the U.S. will address the United Nations second. Security is heavy in Midtown Manhattan as things kick off, and President Trump's speech will be among the most highly anticipated. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt offered a preview yesterday of what we could expect to hear.
President Trump will deliver a major speech touting the renewal of American strength around the world, his historic accomplishments in just 8 months, including the ending of 7 global wars and conflicts. The president will also touch upon how globalist institutions have significantly decayed the world order, and he will articulate his straightforward and constructive vision for the world.
NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard joins us now from outside the UN with a preview. Vaughn, good morning. So President Trump has been dialing back U.S. support for the UN so far in this second term. He's withdrawn from the World Health Organization, ended the U.S.'s participation in the UN Human Rights Council. With all that in mind, what do we expect to hear from the president today?
You're absolutely right, Joe, and he has rankled a great many allies with severe tariffs. Of course, those tariffs and their future are up in the air, pending a Supreme Court decision and hearing later on this fall. But this, if you go back to the first Trump administration, he oftentimes in his remarks would talk about peace through strength and making the case that America would prioritize its own well-being first, and that other countries, including longtime U.S. allies, needed to contribute more militarily to their own defenses. And we should expect to hear similar along those lines here in 2025. We also expect him to tout the end of multiple wars and conflicts that he and his administration have helped broker. But of course, there are serious questions about how pointed he will be about Russia's continued war against Ukraine. He has repeatedly threatened to issue more sanctions on Russia, but so far we have not seen that over the course of this summer. And Estonia, Romania, and Poland have all told the UN that there were incursions of Russian Air Force into their airspace. And so there are questions here about what the president is willing to threaten in terms of directives for Russia to end its war. But also there is a deep question here about the extent to which he will talk about the conflict in Gaza. Of course, several other longtime allies of the U.S. have called for the designation of a Palestinian state. The president has deferred to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on that front. Netanyahu has made clear that he does not support a Palestinian state in the future as he continues his war in Gaza.
Actually, we know President Trump will be meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, along with other world leaders, sort of these side one-on-one meetings. And it comes as Zelensky is calling on allies to take action against Russia for its continued attacks on the country, as well as incursions to other countries, as you just mentioned. Does this sideline meeting offer any real chance, do you think, for any kind of diplomatic breakthroughs this week?
Absolutely. This timing is important here because it was just 1 month ago that President Trump met with President Zelensky and other European allies, and that was coming off of his welcoming of Vladimir Putin to U.S. soil now more than 1 month ago in Alaska. And at the time, President Trump had suggested that Putin essentially had 2 weeks to enter into a ceasefire. Well, those 2 weeks came and went with no serious ramifications. And even people like President Macron spoke out and suggested that the White House had been played again by Putin. And Zelensky has been very clear, saying it is incumbent upon European allies to go forward and be tough on Russia, understanding that they have no intent of ending their war, in that those actions by Europe could put pressure on the United States president to take further actions himself.
Vaughn, the White House also confirmed yesterday that Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, sent President Trump a letter, and this comes after the U.S. military recently destroyed several boats from Venezuela that were allegedly carrying drugs. What do we know about what was in that letter?
Right. In this letter, there was the urging of the United States to come and sit down with, particularly their special envoy, to sit down with Venezuelan officials. Nicolas Maduro, the president, has denied that he is engaged in narco trafficking. Of course, there have now been 3 boats that have been struck by U.S. military forces in very unprecedented ways in which there was no actual war declaration by the U.S. That is not typical. The U.S. has not done this before, where they go and target off of U.S. soil drug trafficking, either boats or vehicles, things of this kind. And so there are serious questions about what the U.S.'s intent here is ahead. But Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, suggested that they believed that there were lies inside of this letter here from Venezuela. And they said it is incumbent upon Venezuela to stop narco trafficking if they do not want similar types of strikes by U.S. military forces in the future.
All right. Vaughn, thank you.
Well, in health news, the Trump administration is pushing an unproven link between acetaminophen, that is that active ingredient that's in Tylenol, and autism. At the White House yesterday, the president said pregnant women should not be taking it, claiming there may be a link to autism in children, but offering little evidence to back it up. Doctors say studies going back decades show the medicine is safe during pregnancy. NBC's Ann Thompson has these critical details for us.
Taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
In a rambling statement, long on opinion, but with little new science, President Donald Trump said the FDA would tell doctors that the use of acetaminophen or Tylenol in pregnancy can increase the risk of autism.
If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary pointing to several studies, including one from Mount Sinai, that says prenatal exposure may increase the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism, but that further research is needed to confirm these associations and determine causality and mechanisms. Tylenol's maker strongly disagreeing with the White House, saying in a statement that a decade of rigorous research confirms there is no credible evidence linking acetaminophen to autism. And the medical community is not changing its guidance. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists still says it is safe to take acetaminophen during pregnancy.
We've been studying that medication for over 20 years. There have been numerous well-designed trials that have come out that have showed safety and efficacy.
The federal government says it's spending $50 million to look for the cause of autism. Despite decades of research showing no connection between vaccines and autism, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. brought it up again.
One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines.
Tammy Schall is a nurse.
Show me the science. Show me the good studies. You know, show me repeat studies.
Her middle child, Jeffrey, has autism.
So adding more uncertainty, especially with something that I can't change, just makes things more confusing and more frustrating and doesn't actually help our kids or the families.
Our thanks to Ann Thompson for that report. Let's continue this conversation with NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, good morning. Great to see you. So I heard you yesterday as we were covering this on one of our shows here kind of say, obviously, what's so great about science is that it can evolve, is that we can learn something new and we can provide guidance based on that. But is there actually any credible scientific research out there that is new, that links acetaminophen to autism? Anne did mention in her report there, the FDA commissioner pointed to some studies, but are those reliable? Does it change long-held beliefs about acetaminophen in pregnancy?
Yeah, good morning, Savannah and Joe. So that's exactly, I was referring to the kind of open and willingness. I think there's been this confusion that scientists or doctors like me are kind of fixed and rigid and that we're not looking at the new science. That's absolutely the contrary. And I think what's being referenced here, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt even posted about this, were that there are many observational studies that have shown an association between prenatal acetaminophen use, meaning the moms using Tylenol, and neurodevelopmental outcomes, including autism, ADHD, and other neurodevelopmental disorders. However, association does not mean causation. And what we need are stronger designs to reduce the confounding when we see those stronger design studies, such as sibling control studies, where you have siblings and you can look at what their mom took, very large registries. Those studies do not support a causal relationship. So the bottom line is that the evidence could evolve. I'd love to see new evidence. I didn't hear about any of that yesterday, but with the evidence we have to date, it is inconsistent and not conclusive about a causal link.
So with that in mind, and I'm sure you're hearing from patients, what should pregnant women and families know about acetaminophen right now? I mean, is it safe and recommended to use?
Yeah, so literally, truly, as of this very second, it is safe to use. Acetaminophen is actually the preferred option in pregnancy for pain and fever in an acute setting in a short term, because things like nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, or what we would call ibuprofen or Advil, carry specific pregnancy risks. So we really do think about targeting real pain, significant fever. And I'll just say this, Joe, that actually not treating it, and I think the president referred to kind of toughing it out, not treating a fever, so having a high fever or not treating something can actually be more harmful. So I think you have to weigh the benefit and risks. And as of right now, there has been no evidence that was revealed in yesterday's press conference or in the accompanying literature that's been published to date that should change any woman's mind about talking to her doctor about using acetaminophen safely.
Well, Dr. Patel, that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. I think that concept of tough it out, or even if for people who haven't been pregnant, you just think, well, gosh, if I heard that there's even a question, or to use your language, if there was not conclusive evidence, like I would rather just avoid it. But sometimes that can actually also be dangerous if you continue to be in that type of pain or fever. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, Savannah, look, in pregnancy, there's a lot of things we tell women to avoid. We do tell women to absolutely avoid smoking, alcohol, other substances. We even tell them to try to avoid soft cheeses or deli meat because of fears of listeriosis that have been linked to some of them unless you can source them well. But in this case, having a pain that's acute, fever that's acute, potentially an infection that's acute, and not dealing with that, again, in conjunction with a doctor, I think that that's incredibly harmful. So acetaminophen is available over the counter, and we do give guidance to women that you should not use it in chronic. You shouldn't use it for weeks or months in a prolonged setting, but that using it for a short term and up to a certain amount is absolutely safe in all forms and in all times of pregnancy. And I think that that's something that you just heard Anne's reporting is reiterating. By the way, we're hearing reports around the globe because these comments have sparked confusion in other countries as well. Other countries are clarifying and underlining exactly the same points I'm making.
All right, Dr. Kavita Patel, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Jimmy Kimmel is returning to late night television tonight, nearly a week after Disney suspended him and put his show out indefinitely. Well, now the company is reversing course after fierce backlash over that suspension. But Kimmel won't be seen in every city, with at least one station group planning to keep Kimmel off its ABC affiliates. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the latest.
After nearly a week of silence, Disney announcing Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air. The company says the reversal comes after days of thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, adding Kimmel's show was suspended last week to avoid further inflaming a tense situation, calling his comments in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination ill-timed and thus insensitive.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
Disney and ABC pulled Kimmel off the air after pressure from the FCC chairman and two major television station ownership groups who said they'd stop airing the show following conservative outrage over Kimmel's comments. Sinclair, which owns dozens of ABC stations nationwide, previously said it would not air Jimmy Kimmel Live again unless the comedian apologized to the Kirk family and made a donation to them and Turning Point USA. Sinclair writing, discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return.
Free speech is under attack.
The decision to put Kimmel back on the air comes as Disney faces mounting backlash, including protests and calls to boycott the company.
I'm canceling my Disney Plus.
ABC's The View finally addressing the controversy.
The government cannot apply pressure to force someone to be silenced.
2 days after Kimmel was pulled off the air, police say 64-year-old Anibal Hernandez Santana fired shots into an ABC station in Sacramento. The district attorney telling NBC News investigators found anti-Trump notes in his home and that they believe Kimmel's suspension may have been a factor.
We're still looking and investigating the case, but he chose a very particular target. And with the notes that he left behind, I think there's circumstantial evidence there to show that this was politically motivated crime by this individual.
Hernandez Santana, a retired state lobbyist, was first arrested by local police on Friday, but released on bail. The FBI then stepped in and rearrested him. His attorney says he plans to plead not guilty to the number of state and federal charges he now faces.
All right, thanks to Liz Croyce for that report. For more, let's bring in Brian Steinberg. He's senior TV editor at Variety. He's been covering this controversy over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Brian, good to have you with us again. So I know part of what's been going on really behind the scenes these last few days is figuring out what Kimmel's return would even look like. So do we know what to expect? Do you think he's going to tone down the politics or offer any sort of apology here?
Unclear. We've been asking that question for the last couple of hours, yesterday as well. Disney's not giving any details. All we know is that whatever he's going to do has been agreed upon between him and the executive. This is the path they've chosen to move forward. I expect a lot of people to watch tonight to see how he's going to navigate it. There are people who are offended. There are people who want him back on the air. Can he bring them all together with a speech or a monologue or a sketch? It'll be interesting to see.
Brian, you've reported that Disney says the decision was not based on these external influences. Do you think, though, the amount of pressure placed on the company, I mean, calls for a boycott, we saw these protests, open letters from stars condemning Disney. Do you think that factored into the decision?
I have to think it did. This is a company that thrives on creativity. It depends on actors, producers, directors, cinematographers, graphic designers to make their products work. And if these folks who were employed by Disney felt dismayed, I think pressure was building in a different direction. There was backlash to the backlash, so to speak. And I think that it was an untenable position they were in.
So as Liz reported, not all the ABC affiliates are going to show Jimmy Kimmel tonight. We got one station group standing by its decision, Sinclair, basically saying they're going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live across their ABC stations, replacing it with news programming, which, to be clear, comes at a cost for Sinclair. So, given the economic relationship between the network and its affiliates, were you surprised Disney announced that Kimmel was coming back without a deal to make sure he was on every one of their stations?
There are other costs for not putting Kimmel back on. And as we discussed, there's brand costs, there's people cutting streaming services, which is Disney's new focus. Disney can do a number of different things. They can put Kimmel on Hulu and Disney Plus and get him out that way. They could find other stations in certain markets that might want to carry him opposite Sinclair. If it came to that, there are things they might try and do but yeah, it's going to be a problem going forward until they figure out what next on Sinclair will do. I see Sinclair said their discussions are ongoing, which says to me that the door is open for this to reverse itself.
Also, this is obviously just a challenging backdrop for late night. We've had a lot of discussions, including with you, about Stephen Colbert. Jimmy Kimmel's contract was already up for renewal next year. Do you think he and Disney, what happens over this next year? How does that factor into a contract negotiation with the current challenging backdrop for late night?
It's a great question. Kimmel's deal is up next year, we understand. And with the economics of this day part, this format, are not what they once were. Johnny Carson's no longer behind a desk. There are many more people doing this stuff. Audiences are smaller, and viewers are hard to get to watch at 11:30 at night. We've been told by people who know Kimmel that he is closer to the end than the beginning. Will this be the time he decides to step away, or does he want to do a couple of more cycles? He certainly has, good association with Disney. He's been on there for more than 2 decades. He does host the Oscars, does game shows. He's really entrenched at ABC and Disney. I suspect they would like to keep him as long as the show is showing a profit and he is part of that ambassadorial, relationship. Might want to try and keep him on a little bit longer. But let's see. Maybe something will be announced tonight. Who can say?
All right, Brian, good to have you guiding us through this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time now for weather. Showers, thunderstorms are going to stretch across much of the country today.
We've got Angie Lassman here tracking it all for us. Hi, Angie. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning to you. It is an active morning already across the middle of the country. That's where we're going to see the most action here as the day goes on, and we have the most concern for impactful weather. Here's what we've got right now. You can see your radar quite active with plenty of lightning and some heavy rain focused across essentially Oklahoma, stretching up through Kansas, and even points north of that and east of that. Kansas City in and out of the rain already this morning, and this is kind of just setting the stage for what we'll deal with as the day goes on. So no surprise that we've already got these flood watches up. They've been up since the early morning hours. They include Little Rock and Fayetteville, who are quiet for now, but of course Wichita included in there and stretching all the way to the west towards Dodge City. This is part of a cold front that's going to be a slow mover and an impactful system here for multiple locations as the next 48 hours go on. Today, it's the heavy rain and the thunderstorms that I just showed you that will last into the afternoon hours and leave us with some unsettled kind of afternoon difficulties when it comes to some rain. But we'll also see the potential for some of these stronger storms to develop. The area includes maybe 5 million people, but still anywhere from Oklahoma City stretching to Memphis and down towards San Angelo has the potential to see some of those stronger storms. We are going to watch for the hail and potentially tornadoes to be on the table, gusty winds as well. But essentially, that system is stretching from Texas to Maine. So we'll see some rain along and in front of it as the day goes on. By tomorrow, it shifts a little farther to the east, and we'll once again see some of those thunderstorms erupting along the system as it moves at quite a slow pace, but leaves us with the potential for some heavy rain. I'd specifically watch for parts of the Ohio Valley to see some of that additional rain and the flood risk to accompany that. One note about today's severe weather. Here's a little bit of a closer look. Tulsa, Little Rock, McAllister, Fort Smith, you have the best chance to see some of those stronger storms. And as far as the flash flooding is concerned, anywhere from essentially Lexington to Dallas and up through Springfield has the best chance to see some of that flash flooding. I wouldn't be surprised if we get upwards of maybe 5 to even close to 8 inches in some of these locations. So it is going to be, 2 days basically where we'll have to watch for the flooding across this region. But I think more widespread numbers, anywhere from 1 inch to 3 inches, guys. Moral of the story, we'll see the severe weather. We'll see the potential for flooding. So make sure you have a way to get those alerts across this region
It's
tonight.
like a lot of rain here over the next couple days. All right.
Good info. Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.